Eddington, directed by Ari Aster, is his fourth feature-length film. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler. This is easily one of my most anticipated films of the year. I am a big fan of Ari Aster, everything he's done up to this film, and I think that he is one of our most important filmmakers. He's always tackling very provocative topics and is never afraid to really push the envelope and get people have a conversation after they leave the theater. This resulted in a lot of really toxic discourse, however, and with Eddington surrounding itself with the topic of COVID and 2020 more specifically, I was really worried that he may have gone a little bit overboard or even alienated his most hardcore fans. I'm here to say that that's not really the case. I enjoyed my time with Eddington. I know a lot of people are going to hate this movie. In my showing alone, there were multiple people walking out within the first 20 minutes. The pandemic is such a touchy subject even today that I was really worried that Aster was going to go a little bit too far, telling a story about this really provocative and touchy subject that most people aren't even willing to go near these days, is something that seemed a little too obvious for him. While this movie does have a lot of flaws specifically relating to the subject matter, I still found it to be incredibly riveting and very pointed. This film directly attacks the performative activism and the lies and manipulation that people were telling us at the time. It aimed to capture that feeling of unrest and paranoia we were all feeling at the beginning of the lockdown. The film tells the story of a man who is using fear as a manipulation tactic. We see a lot of the central protagonists claim to have the right answers. The way they are doing things is the right way, and the movie is very critical of people like that. I think Joaquin Phoenix gives a really good performance here. It's not one of his best as of recent, but I think that he really nails down the type of person that would be doing the things his character is doing. He's very contradictory, very regressive, and very stuck in his old ways, and that puts him in a lot of unnecessary danger he wouldn't have been in otherwise, and in effect ruins the lives of everyone around him. I think this movie works a lot more as a psychological thriller about manipulation and fear rather than a pointed satirical political film. In fact, my biggest gripes with Eddington are with how it handles the whole COVID-19 thing. It felt more like a choice to really rile up an audience rather than to serve the story being told. Don't get me wrong, it's not offensive, it's not saying the wrong message at all, it's not, on the wrong side of history. I just felt like it could have been way better if it removed itself from something so modern and so specific. In fact, the slavish devotion to getting everything right about the pandemic actively hampers a lot of this movie's tension and a lot of what this movie is trying to get across. The story can feel really mushy and watery at times and not ever have a clear direction on where it wants to go next, what it wants to touch on. And I think that if this movie would have just done away with that kind of thing, it would have been way more concise and way sharper. That isn't a deal breaker by any means. I still found the movie incredibly riveting, like I said earlier. I think that it really nails down that sense of paranoia and fear that we were all feeling, and I think that it uses that to really take the audience on a ride that's going to be unlike anything else you've seen. Eddington is a weird movie, and a weird movie even for Ari Aster. It tackles subject matter and genres that he isn't really used to delving into, and I think it mostly lands. It very much is going for a modern Western vibe, and I think that he nails that tone very, very well with some gorgeous cinematography, some great setting, and some really interesting conflict between all of these very oddball characters. We get to see a situation play out at its absolute worst outcome in every moment, and I think being able to go along for that ride with how really funny it is at a lot of times and how sickening it is throughout most of it really is the meat and potatoes of Eddington. The thing that is really going to sit with me with Eddington is its sense of capturing what paranoia and fear can do to people. How far are people willing to go when they are scared, when they think things are out of the norm? By taking that idea and inserting it into his style, into his format of storytelling, really, really works. I just wish he would have gone for something a little less obvious and on the nose than COVID-19, because I think it makes this movie a way more of a trendy thing than it really had to be. It ties the movie down to one specific time period in history, whereas I think if it would have been a little more ubiquitous, I think way more people would really be into what Eddington is doing. With that being said, I really did enjoy my time with Eddington. I think it is a very provocative film. I think it is going to piss a lot of people off. I think it is going to start a lot of conversation. And while I don't love the conversation that's necessarily going to be surrounding this movie just because, again, of the COVID-19 thing and how tied down that is to a very specific time period in history, I still think it's a movie worth seeing, worth dissecting, and worth talking about. There's a lot of really cool ideas at play here, and I think Ari Aster, again, is one of our most important filmmakers, and he never fails to bring us something at the very least riveting. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Again, really enjoyed my time with it. I think it has a lot of cool things going for it. It's definitely flawed, and I have my problems with it. Probably my least favorite Ari Aster film to date, but that being said, I still love a lot of his movies, so that's not really a bad thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of Eddington in the comments down below, and I will see you with the next review. Thank you so much.